the day Roman soldiers roasted Julius Caesar, and he had to take it. Imagine this. You're Julius Caesar. You've just conquered Gaul, crossed the Rubicon, won a civil war, and become the most powerful man in Rome. You're riding through the streets in a golden chariot during your triumph, the greatest honor a Roman could receive, and your own soldiers are singing, "Citizens, lock up your wives, we're bringing home the bald fornicator." Wait, what? Today we're diving into one of the most brutal roasts in ancient history, a chant so savage it was immortalized by the Roman historian Suetonius. But here's the twist. This wasn't a scandal, this wasn't mutiny, this was tradition. Let's talk about why Caesar's soldiers publicly humiliated him and why he had absolutely no choice but to smile and take it. First, you need to understand what a Roman triumph was. This wasn't just a parade, it was the ultimate flex. Only the Senate could grant one, and only for the most spectacular military victories. Picture this. Caesar rides through Rome in a chariot pulled by white horses, dressed in purple robes, face painted red like the god Jupiter. Behind him are wagons loaded with treasure, enemy prisoners in chains, and thousands of soldiers marching in formation. The entire city would turn out to watch. This was the Super Bowl, the Oscars, and a royal coronation all rolled into one. But there was a catch. The Romans were terrified of hubris, excessive pride that angered the gods. They believed that a man experiencing such godlike glory was in serious danger. The gods might strike him down out of jealousy. So they built in a fail-safe. Behind Caesar's chariot stood a slave whose only job was to whisper in his ear, "Memento mori," remember, you are mortal. But that wasn't enough humiliation. Oh no. The soldiers marching in the triumph had a special privilege. They could sing whatever they wanted, and I mean whatever. Crude songs, insults, jokes about the general's sex life, his appearance, his scandals. Nothing was off limits. This wasn't considered disrespectful, it was considered necessary. Think of it as a divine insurance policy. By mocking the triumphant general, they were bringing him back down to earth, reminding everyone, including the gods, that he was just a man, a bald, adulterous man, but still just a man. So let's break down what Caesar's soldiers actually sang. Urbani servate uxores, mucum calvum aducimus. Citizens, lock up your wives, we're bringing home the bald adulterer. This hits on two of Caesar's biggest insecurities. First, his affairs. Caesar was notorious for sleeping with other men's wives. He had a well-documented affair with Servilia, the mother of Marcus Brutus. Yes, that Brutus. He allegedly had an affair with Pompey's wife. And perhaps most scandalously, there were persistent rumors about a relationship with King Nicomedes of Bithynia when Caesar was a young man, rumors his enemies loved to bring up. Second, his baldness. Caesar was incredibly vain about losing his hair. He famously combed his thinning hair forward to hide his bald spot. When the Senate granted him the right to wear a laurel wreath at all times, historians believe he was thrilled, not because of the honor, but because it covered his bald head. So this chant, it was surgical. It hit him exactly where it hurt. But here's what makes this fascinating. Caesar couldn't respond. He couldn't punish them. He had to sit there in his golden chariot and take it, because to react would be to admit the mockery bothered him. It would show hubris, that he thought he was above criticism, that he'd forgotten he was mortal. The genius of this tradition was that it worked on multiple levels. It protected against divine jealousy by humbling the victor. It gave the common soldiers a voice in a highly hierarchical society. It was actually a sign of affection. You only roast people you feel comfortable with. And it was entertainment for the massive crowds watching. Imagine being in that crowd. You're watching the most powerful man in Rome get absolutely demolished by his own troops, and he just has to smile and wave. That's content gold. This quote tells us something profound about Roman culture. Despite all their obsession with honor, dignity, and glory, or maybe because of it, They understood the danger of taking yourself too seriously. They built humiliation right into their greatest honor. They made sure that even at your highest moment, someone was there to remind you, you're not a god, you're just a bald guy who can't keep it in his toga. It's almost healthy, in a brutal, ancient kind of way. So the next time you feel embarrassed about something, remember, Julius Caesar, conqueror of Gaul, destroyer of Pompey, dictator of Rome, had to ride through the streets while thousands of people sang about his sex life and his hair loss, and he couldn't say a word about it. If Caesar could handle that, you can handle whatever's bothering you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient roasts, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from history that prove humans have always been absolutely savage to each other. And remember, even at your triumph, someone's writing a diss track about your bald spot.